I'm sorry.
You could roll.
Nope,
roll
5
down
is
to the
great.
very end.
So that was on email.
Yeah, if you wanted to roll that to the end, because I'll be honest with you, the way we're gonna talk about these. Each one of them, 11 and 12 and 23. Will actually feed into 5 and help us justify.
So let's start with 11.
Oh, we're signing in. You just have a second here. Yeah, you want to talk, you want to go
11,
there you go.
okay, 11. The thing what is happening with 11 is there's a lack of training for MBAs and paraprofessionals. They're constantly being brought to OPS because they're not given the proper training to, when students, fight, they actually get they get injured and all that. We would like them to receive the MAT training that helps, that's why most of them go to OPS. That is all, it's very. We had 3 members go before OPS last month alone.
Yeah, I was in OPS last week with them.
But the article you provided didn't say anything about MAT training.
No, actually, it did not mention the training because you jumped ahead on us.
Okay.
No, but that's okay.
Oh.
This is, and looking at 11, we do have, and we hear, I field calls constantly, and Susan and Paula do as well, from our members who are in the schools who don't know or may not have insight into the needs that some of our more fragile students have with IEPs. And it's simply because they haven't read them or they haven't been given the opportunity to get into them. Now, we know it's in statute and we know it stands in statute, but what we would like to do, because it does move in and out of job descriptions in the district, what we would like to do is codify it in language so that we can point to it and say, look, guys, if you have a question, right here's your answer. Go find the documentation, read up on your kids so that you're prepared to meet them where they are in the classroom.
Yeah, we don't disagree that that would be helpful. We did counter with language that says the same thing. I'll provide this to you, but we're saying all bargaining unit employees who deal directly with students receiving. I'm sorry, employees who directly support the implementation of a student's individualized educational plan or 504, because they support it, they don't implement it as a support employee. Shall be provided with copies to the extent necessary to support the accommodation. So is that a copy, Mike?
Yeah, we got a
Right.
copy of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we do not disagree. We added something about confidentiality in
Yes.
there.
Perfect.
I think we hit what you were hoping to achieve. Your conversation confused me on
Okay,
that.
yeah, that's also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it's also part of that. It leads back to the IEP because when they don't know, when our members don't know what's going on with the child, we're blindsided. We had one member where they were given a student and the student, they didn't tell her anything about it. She was blindsided. She no longer is with that student. She moved on to a different position in the district. And she was quite upset that everybody else knew about this kid, but her.
Yeah, we don't disagree.
It's a safety issue
Yeah.
for both, everybody that's involved. And that person was a high school student and had violent tendencies. But she was not given any walkie-talkie. Even a walkie-talkie would have helped her. Hey, I have a problem with so-and-so, come quick. I mean,
So, do you want to take that and wait till we're all done to see if
Absolutely.
you like
What I
the
was
language?
thinking is, I like the language, but we want to have a little conversation, obviously, before we say yay.
Okay,
And we'll encounter the other ones that you have. And
okay. The next one's 12. And that was
certificate.
Right,
Yeah.
that's your certificate of distinction.
and we just discussed this quite a bit in the back. Here's our stance on this one. We think it's time for an overhaul of that program. We don't disagree that there's not a need for one. But basically what we've written 20 years ago that costs us $420,000 a year allows employees to take courses 20 years ago and continue to be paid even though some of the courses might not be relevant. For example, technology changes year to year to year, so we're paying for training that you took a long time ago that's not necessarily relevant. We think it's time to overhaul it, to be honest. I'd like to buy it out. The amount of money we're spending, I'd rather increase salaries, but that's something that I think we would have to do when it's open book or when we're a little bit more solvent financially. So to put more money into it when we don't really have the money nor agree with the program, it's not. I don't say we don't agree with the program, but the way it's being implemented now, I don't think was the way it was intended. I talked a lot to Lori, you know, with her longevity with this and provided some examples and why. So, and you know, to compare it to teachers or nurses, or you have to constantly up your knowledge with PD to continue to get that recertified. So we'd like to relook at that one.
Well, and that's fantastic, and that's a wonderful concept, because that's, I mean, our idea, and I'll just be completely transparent. We're looking at a way for you to see some return on the investment, and not just here's a bonus. If this is performance-based, it is something that can be performance-based. You feel a little better about kicking a little more money into it.
Okay.
So, and that's fine. That was our option. The one thing, and this is the paragraph in the middle in red, was our president's big priority was, whether we can get money attached to it or not, let's get this thing regenerated and figure out what it's going to look like for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
And we can, that is something we can sit here and agree with that, you know, in sort of a gentleman's agreement or general person's agreement. If we can agree to that now, and just let's sit down and have these conversations in the new year about how to make this something that's going to benefit everybody. Because it is something that is across the board. It's not just Pespa, it's SEIU. It's everybody.
Yep.
So let's make it good for everybody.
Yep, we would agree to that.
Absolutely. Right.
All right.
That's out.
That takes us to Article 23, which is the licensing. And really, you don't even have to your spiel. We agree to that. I mean, you can tell us why if you'd like, but
Well,
we do agree to it.
And the one change that I will point out is employees' dependent children. We got grandparents that take care of grandchildren in this district. So if it's employee's child, then they're not gonna be qualified. You know, I can't bring.
Where is that?
Last line, the board will provide free pre-K and pre-K4, pre-K3 and pre-K4 education for employees' dependent children.
May I make a statement here, if I may come in? A lot of us sat in the wellness committee as well, and I think a point to Article 23 to bring up is that what the average age of our employees is 53. So when we're looking at childcare, a lot of times that may be a grandparent, because our staff is taking care of their grandchildren, maybe not necessarily their own children who are of age to be in pre-K3 or pre-K4.
Okay, that one we're gonna have to take back.
And I figured that's why I wanted to point it out, because it will broaden the base, but it does make it a little more applicable to help more of our folks. As childcare is a major expense for our people.
That's it. That's a bigger conversation. Plus, we need to cost that out.
Right.
Which is gonna be difficult to do. We don't know how many grandparents that we have that are raising children.
That's true. That's a guess, but at best.
And it would only be if they're actually raising the child, not the grandparent and the parents working for, well, I guess then the parent.
No, that's the word dependent. Dependent children would have to be somebody that you can claim on your taxes. So you would have to either be a foster parent, or you would have to have some sort of legal.
And you know, the other thing that I didn't even catch is our 3s and 4s aren't totally free right now. There's a small fee to those. So, okay, let us look at that one.
We can revisit.
Yeah. I mean, I think if there's something that's gone through the courts or foster or something, that'd be easier to look at than people just declaring. Okay.
Well, and like I said, that's the thing, because we want to make it as palatable, but we also you have to have some criteria. You can't just open the door for everybody, but and that's something, if they are a dependent child, then they're legally responsible for it. And that makes it a little easier.
So let me ask you, since the other is complicated, with various custodial arrangements that we have. And we haven't costed this out, but our proposal said employees' children, because that's what's current, but if it said employees' children or grandchildren, biological grandchildren. That would be a middle ground, which would not require us to scrutinize court documents on the relationship.
That would be way more
And that would-
expensive.
Well, it's
To
gonna,
do
it's gonna
that,
open your
To do
pool
what
up.
you're saying.
grandchildren,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then you might not be
so
the
right now
dependent.
they're already.
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna open a bigger door with that. That's why I'm trying to not gatekeep, but just trying to pull it back. So it doesn't get everybody, but it's still a
Dependent
benefit.
biological grandchildren.
Okay.
That would be so expensive.
If they're dependent. And they're actually the grandchild, what I don't wanna do, and we do in legal department often, we get sent. Various orders, trying to figure out the relationship and who's the parent, because under
Fix
Florida
up.
law, parent is anyone in a custodial relationship. That could be a neighbor who is acting as a custodian, and I don't wanna get into trying to determine dependency.
Well, and I'm just, like I said, I'm just looking for a qualifier that will keep it from becoming a free for all.
That's why we
And
just
still
kept it
benefit
the
our
same as it was, employees, children.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make a quick note when we talk this, and we will.
Yeah, and I think we need to find out what we're charging for that currently. Because honestly, I don't know, but I know there's a fee.
Okay, well, and we can, once we get into a proper situation, which will be shortly,
Yeah,
we
we'll
can
check.
talk about it, because I just you can't read that, I'll have to read it for you.
That was also the licensure.
Yeah, and that is the licensure, and this is the first part of it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, the top
guys
part
are
of
on
it
it.
we agreed to. We thought the bottom you weren't really changing.
Yeah.
And we kept this, you had it open indefinitely, we had a sunset provision,
Right.
yeah.
And
We wanted to keep that open. Is that something you agreed to keep it
Well,
open?
we want to do just as we did to teachers, agree to it for a year, it's financial.
then we'll
Yeah, and then sunset.
renegotiate.
27
2 years still open.
through the end of the contract, yeah.
Okay. You just wanna do annually, will we just
It would actually be 2 years.
2
Yeah,
years on this?
Yep.
So you will you will pay for the license.
For 2
This
years.
is how it was written out.
I mean, honestly,
Yes,
that's not
thank you.
something in the long term, we are adverse to continuing, same with teachers, but it's to agree forever is a tough. one with-
I,
Yeah, it's a hard lift.
Yep.
so through June
Heavy
30th,
lift.
27.
okay.
Okay.
All right, and that takes us to 5 that you
And
say
that brings us back to 5.
pulls us
Which is
together. and-
Five would have encompassed everything that we were talking about, the training. But the professional information, notifying about the meetings. I know Manatee County Schools allows their union, because my girlfriend is involved, works at Manatee, and she gets from her union there. I know other unions throughout the state too. The districts allow them to their school address. We will be tied to what we negotiate as far as what we notify, like training we do, like CPR. We offer to our members free. We have a small fee for non-members. Anybody who needs or wants CPR, we do charge a small fee so they can have it right here. We work with our family, and the district is our family. What we're trying to say, but we want to be able to notify them of meetings, trainings, legislative information that affects their job. Like when this opening session, we're just gonna put it in, we're not gonna put point of views on how they should be, we're just gonna say the plain language of stuff that we are all concerned about.
So I'll let Lori or Mike jump in to say this has been brought up with all of the union. And I think we have a process that we use that's pretty effective. We supply a lot of that, but there's also a legal concern with opening that up, so.
So we want to keep that separate, the school district's email system separate from the union activities. And think that you can use your union members' personal email address for those communications. To the extent that we have, and we've done this in the past for voting, we open it up just to advertise where and how the voting is going to go to assist PESPA. BCTA, we do it for the other unions, but we don't want you using our mail system for general communication to keep union activities separate from the district.
What we're only, what we're only talking about is like CPR, all our MPAs, bus drivers. School secretaries at the elementary level need CPR training. We're offering to those anybody in the
And
family.
Ms. Collins sends all of those out, plus we include those in our notifications.
So,
Well, understandable. Like I said, it's an ask. Everything here is just an ask
Yeah,
because.
if it's in our PLN, they're getting a chalk talk anyway.
Yeah.
It's-
we should actually notify.
Well, and we are pushing things out more, and it's something Scotty's not very aware because he's not in the building every day, but we are pushing out more things. I don't think we've run CPR through PLN yet. But I do know that we did the last one here, and just as an aside, we had the last training here when we ratified for Pespa for PCTA and had a couple of your folks in the room, a couple of the upper level administration folks in the room, and about 15 to 20 employees who came in to do their certification that day. And that's something that we're trying to expand because it's neat. And just notifying, we're just looking at a way to get word out to people and not leave anything more empty. It's got a big plate, but. You know,
Well, and
I understand.
yeah,
the
it's the
reasoning.
same thing we told Lee, when we have a collaborative relationship, it's wonderful, when it's not. And then that turns it sideways, trying to look in the long term, but the separation, I think, is a challenge for us, so that's not one we want to agree to. So we had the two, 1.5 that I think are pretty clear, one we need to look into. And then this one we're not in agreement with.
And what we will do, obviously, we've got two things to consider, and then I'm looking at the pretty color sheets over there. If you want to go ahead and lay the money on the table, then we can talk about that as well. I'm at your convenience.
Yep, okay, so this one, you would have to, this is nothing, right, so let's hang on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so, we'll pass this over. I'm just gonna highlight it. I'm sure you're kind of expecting what you're gonna hear. That's an additional 1% for all members, which is a range of $176 to $646. The referendum was a range of 4.51% to 13.2%. We're also offering a non-recurring payment of $150 and $150. That adds another 1% on to what we're proposing. That gives a total overall increase for members of $3,386 to $3,856 per year.
You got it, sorry.
It's the same copy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Can we divide and
Yeah,
conquer?
sure.
Let's have a conversation. We'll just stay in here because we have no visitors, so. Y'all want to move next door?
Yeah, we'll go.
Thank you very much. All right, so just to make sure I'm on the right page, we've got the counter for Article 11 that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about that last sentence in 23.
Yeah.
5 we're throwing off the table. And then we've already got we've got the
Gentlemen's agreement.
on 12 to
Yep.
deal with that. So, okay, I just want to make sure I've got all my T's
We'll
ready.
do a little
crossed and
research
stuff.
on 23 and get the,
And we may negate that possibility here in the next 5
Okay.
minutes. That's the first thing I want to talk about.
all right.
Thanks.
Oh, should be last.
Oh, wait.
They're kind of.
Not muted, yeah. Thank you, Ms. Carla. Appreciate that.
right? Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Are they ready?
They're good.
Do you have something to help with the frequency?
Yes, actually.
Okay, then. Don't.
Sorry, one.
That's fine.
I do.
Mhm.
The running through the list, article certificate of distinction. Absolutely, gentleman's agreement is wonderful. We would ask that we look at a start date, commencement date to let's get this ball rolling. Just to give us a ballpark to see the committee to begin the process. That's something we would like, President Barnum would like to see something to begin initiating in seconds. That's what we're looking for.
Middle of second, maybe just a few other projects that are more pressing.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot going on, but you know, we can figure it out. And it doesn't have to be a weekly get together just to, so we make it work. And that will be
Let's
fantastic.
do with that.
Good
Mid-sentence.
with that? All right, cool. Article 11, absolutely, positively, wonderful. Love it. We're good there.
You want to sign that one?
Oh, yes, I can do something. Right or left? Am I right? I can't remember if I'm the right.
It doesn't
side.
matter.
It's a,
We're not looking.
it's that. And the MOU number 2 on the last page is fine the way it is.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Oh, I apologize. The MOU itself, pull out dependent children or pull out dependent and just leave it the way you've got it written and we're good to sign here. As it is.
You're on article.
We'll have that one.
20.
Yeah, it's the MOU for Article 23. Or, no, is it 23?
Yeah, it's the-
Yeah, it is, sorry. But yeah, it's the MOU for Article 23. It's fine the way it is.
So the problem with that is we did call, it isn't free anymore. It
Okay.
is $25 for
The cost.
VPK and $50 for pre-K 3. It's no longer free
For employee,
for anyone. So we would be taking out number 2.
So I'll clarify for cost. So for the 3-year-olds, an employee cost is any employee, it's $50 a week. For the 4-year-olds on VPK, it's $25 a week, because there are different class sizes and different requirements there, as you know. For non-employees, because remember, these programs bring in
Right.
others. That $50 fee for pre-K 3 goes up to $135 a week. And for the 4-year-olds, the cost goes from $25 to $100 a week. And so we already give all of our employees a significant break to enroll in our 3 and 4-year-old.
Well, and there's no FTE that
We
we
don't get any
bring
money
on
from
those
it, too, right?
students. So we collect nothing from the state except for our ESC scholars.
Okay, so then the change with this would be, we'd like, do you want to line it out and
Yeah.
sign this? Gotcha.
That'd be
Okay.
great.
Okay.
Doesn't it?
Are you okay with that?
You sure?
This one's yours. It's got your name on it, doesn't it?
So,
Yeah,
I guess.
so I will. Initial and dated.
Oh, that's not, it's in the month. You, and fine. I'll leave the date blank. That's okay.
Yeah, I'll put the date.
Thanks.
Clarification, how long ago did that change, the
This year.
cost? This year?
Yeah.
When was notice sent to employees about the cost change?
I'm not.
June, May or June. Before the year ended, it went out
Like
notification.
a blanket?
See, and
notification?
here's, if you think about it, if I have a 3-year-old they moved to 4 and our 4s exited, so mostly it was new people, or we were. Mhm.
We were announced as the.
Correct.
This is the chart.
Yeah, because it's kind of a one experience and then you're done with it sort of thing. We have to only 20% of our units are pre-K3, most of them are BPK, the 4-year-olds. So that's when we notified the problem. We lost, $9 million on the program, and we know we're gonna lose money even by taking in something, but we had to take in something. We also, I would say, reduced 25% of our units. They were partially filled. So that's an area we made pretty significant changes to.
Sign.
And we'll need Lee's signatures.
Yeah, I don't know when he'll actually be able to sign.
We could change it for you.
Either way, works for me.
Hmm.
Whatever you all need is different.
Okay.
Sorry. Let's try it again. Then you can change the title for. I'm not even gonna mess with it.
Yeah.
You can say it.
Yeah.
On your end. And last but not least, the pretty colored paper. And for this one, Miss Jennifer.
We're very aware of the situation with the financial standing of the district. We understand that you're offering 1%. We understand the state gave you 0.7.
For teachers.
For instructional.
For instructional, right, I do understand, and I am sympathetic to this, and the reason I am sympathetic to you is because every single year. Pespa members have to figure it out. I've worked here for 8 years, and for 8 years, I personally have had to figure it out every month. And I've said to my colleagues, when we had meetings before, it's easy for people to sit around a table when you're making 40, 50, 70, $100,000 a year and bargain for someone who's making 28,000 and offer them 1%. We are having to take personal loans. We are maxing out our credit cards. We are robbing Peter to pay Paul every single month. You're well aware that a lot of our employees do qualify for SNAP, cutting SNAP. These programs are at risk. Our people are not making their rent payments. They're not making their mortgage payments. Think about what you make, what you here sitting at this table pay for your mortgage. And we're offering our people $277 for the year. 15 cents an hour, what they would see if they're making $15 an hour. It is not keeping up with inflation. And year after year, we have been told, we're sorry. We know inflation is 9%, but we can only give you so much. We know inflation is 10%, but we can only give you so much. And you know what? All of us here at Pespa said, we're going to make it work. We're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. We figured it out. I have taken a second job. I've taken a side gig. And this is not unique to me. This is all your Pespa members. We're busting our butts out there to make it work. It's your turn to make it work. We would like 3.3 to keep up with the inflation.
And you're getting
6 to 15.
6 to 15.5 this year.
So let's get the referendum out of there. And here's my argument with the referendum Monday. It's because if Pinellas County Schools is the largest employer in the county. It doesn't matter if we stood out on the side of the road with signs. It doesn't matter if you stand out on the side of the road with signs. The employees and the majority of Pinellas County Pinellas County homeowners and people who live here are already employees here. They literally voted to increase their taxes because they're so desperate to get a raise.
The majority of our taxpayers aren't employees. That we are the largest employer, but that doesn't make them the majority. We knew this was an issue for you. That's why we added it onto the referendum. We could have left that and brought you 3.3%, and it'd be worse than you're getting now. I mean, this is our best offer. We are doing everything we can to right size our district for declining enrollment, and there is not 3.3 additional onto 15% coming. I mean, an 18% raise is not a fair expectation. So it is the 1% and the 150 and the 150. That's what we're offering.
Well, I can tell you that, you know, last year I had an issue with Tallahassee and some of their laws, and you know where I went? I drove to Tallahassee, and I spoke right on the floor in a committee. Have any of you been to a committee meeting
I have,
recently to ask for more money to fight for the people of Pinellas County Schools?
I've been up there multiple times, and this isn't I'm not doing my fair share. We've made an offer. I hear what you're saying. I think our offer is fair. I mean, again, 6 to 15.56% for employees.
I mean, when
So
we send this out to our members, it's going to say 1%. They're
that's
gonna
how
see
you
1%.
communicate it. It's how you communicate this.
We're
That
not,
is
we can't
how I
just
would
twist
send it.
something around
It's
to
not
make it
twisting
fit
it.
somebody's
It's not
agenda.
twisting it.
Without running down that road, the suggestion, the one suggestion, and this is just from us. Because we're in a collaborative relationship, guys. We're in Tallahassee every year. We send literally hundreds of people up there to lobby our legislature every year. It's got to be more than going up and getting your picture taken in the gallery and getting your cookie at the DoubleTree and getting a drink at the Capitol Club and coming home. The school board actually has to get some skin in the game and go up there and make demands from our legislatures. They are up there hurting us. Every problem that we have in the world of education has come out of Tallahassee in the last 30 years. I've been teaching in Florida for 30 years. I know this. I've been working union in Florida. We all know it. That's where we have to fight. We have to turn together. We have to walk up there together, and we have to tell them it's time to stop hurting us just so you can steal our money.
Brian, you sit through a lot of our board meetings. You hear the board, you hear the superintendent, we hear Lee. I mean, I think people, our board, all of them have been going up there. Your members have been going up there. We all know what's happening. I mean, we can say all of this, but we know what's going on, and that's the frustration because we're watching it happen. The latest going out with all the hope language. I don't. How do you make sense of some of this? So, you know, I hear what you're saying, but I don't know how you separate the two. I know the union went out in support of adding support employees onto the referendum for this exact reason. It was concerted. The superintendent gambled $60 million of losing if that vote didn't go through to add and to increase that amount, knowing that we were gonna need taxpayers to help our system. And that's where we are. That's the reality of it. So we can say we're gonna separate this out, but we also know the state gave us 0.7% for teachers only. That's what they gave us.
Yep.
That is what they gave us. They gave nothing for anyone else. So, you know, to say we're gonna separate out the referendum, which as our employees go down, the amount's gonna go up. That we know that's gonna happen. All of our employees are gonna benefit from that as we get smaller. And our tax base continues to go up. So what starts at 2910 is going to continue to go up, and we're not gonna be able to separate out the referendum. It's gonna be impossible if the state continues to give us less than 1%.
And if the state doesn't get a hold of property taxes, but that's a whole other argument.
That goes away at any time in the next 4 years, then it's gone.
But that's pretty much every district in the
That's
state now.
Sure, but I mean, if we're gonna use that as a bargaining chip, then it has to be something that's guaranteed, right? So that's not a guarantee.
We would never be able to guarantee that.
And I mean, we've kicked out raising up the COD, we've kicked out the pay for the childcare, so like, we really don't have anything now to offer our members. Financial, that's what Pespa wants. Pespa people want to be paid because they're not making enough money.
But the idea and the concept was, and our proposal when we came in the room was to get some language. Some language that we can frame as a win. I believe that we have got something that we can frame. It's not going, I mean, the enthusiasm behind selling this is going to be very difficult. We will do that because that's our obligation coming out of this room. Our obligation is this is the best deal we can get at the table. We know that. You know, we're all very, very cognizant of current events. So now we have a deal. Let's talk about ratifying. I think we have it, right? I'm not being premature. I think we're done. Aren't we?
I think we're done.
Right.
And I just want to say with COD again, I think we can find something that's a better system than what we have right now. And I think we agreed to that, to say we're not adding on to that. We wouldn't add on to a system that's broken too, and that only benefits some employees. We'd much rather do something bigger. for
Well, and that's what we're
employees.
looking at. And
Not
that's
to
just one of those you can't snap your fingers and make happen.
I think
That's gotta take some time.
when I was at the breakfast last day, I think it said with almost 4,000 support employees between all the units. That were get something like that.
4,000?
It's
Well,
$400,000
You
a
got four hundred
year
and twenty K a year.
for 11,
Before the new
11.
folks earned it this year is 417,000. That's the cost.
for 17.
For all the units. The number of employees is just under 1,500.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm
that was the one number that I.
I'm one of them, but
So what's your timeline, Brian?
Looking at staff schedules and life, in general, we're looking at, I mean, obviously we've TA'd now. We push out our required announcement of the end of bargaining and give a ratification date. I was looking honestly at put it on the wrong day, on the 18th of November.
Okay.
Now that will give us, because we've got
Give us-
next week, we've got too many people out, and I apologize for interrupting. We just got manpower issues next week. And our peer folks meet on the 17th, and we're hoping to use them as volunteers, so we can't do it on the 17th. So we'll do it on the 18th, if it works.
And you
with
saw how we did the other, I mean, we'll open up whatever sites you wanna
Are you
open up.
proposing to create a couple locations and
We're
communicate
gonna
that out
do-
so Dean and I can push
Well, and
out?
that's what I was gonna suggest, is I'll get with Dina tomorrow, because now that we got a date, we can push out our first announcement that says it's coming, say the date. Then our next announcement will be, here are the sites, because I do think we need to look at re-examining the different sites, because the ones that we had for the last one were not very Pespa friendly. If we look at, say, maybe Sanders or at Nina or somewhere else like that, that will
Make it work.
get a large, so we can make that part of it work. I'm not worried about that. The logistics are easy. But that way we can give them a week of the 10th. Everybody have plenty of time to look at the language, or plenty of time to look at it and make their minds up, and give everybody, we're not rushing to it. That's our biggest thing, is to not rush to make this thing happen quick. And then we can have it done by the 18th at 7 o'clock.
So what board meeting would that put it at?
We have one meeting in December. It's not set yet because the board reconfigures at the next meeting, which is on the 11th of November. It's too late for that, obviously.
Yeah, we have
to
that.
ratify. So that board meeting is tentative for December 16th.
Oh, yeah, we'll be.
So, I mean, that's when it would go for final approval. if
What's our
ratified.
next board meeting?
November 11th.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
won't make that.
Okay,
We won't make
I was
it
just trying to
next
think how quickly we get bonuses.
Yeah. Of course, it's still, with the December 16th, it's gonna be after winter break.
Well, generally, your indication is, once we ratify it, it's good. So you run your practice models, and then once you get the official check mark, then.
It'd still work. That's the week of, the
Yeah.
last week before. It's gonna be January 16th for the increases, and we're looking at January 30th for the bonuses.
Okay. Well, and we can pin those dates down and get, once we get a little closer, because you guys want to take a chance to look at it accurately and figure out what.
Yeah.
What you got.
Okay. All right, we left those dates blank, on this MOU. Do you want to tentatively put these in, or do you want us just to work together tomorrow to see, the next day, to see what dates we're really looking at?
Let's look at it and see
All
what dates we want to put on it.
Okay,
Because we'll work either way.
okay. If you're gonna work with Dina on, is Dina back tomorrow?
She's back tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay, well, I don't want to jump in her business right when
Yeah,
she gets
just
back.
asking
She's got
both
a
of
desk
us
full of
that
stuff.
where you want to have your locations, because us pushing the information out, that's not a problem.
It'll just take me a minute. I'm gonna sit down with these guys, and we'll go upstairs after we get done and figure out where
Well,
our best.
we have time.
Yeah,
Because
we got a minute.
there's no meeting Thanksgiving break, so we're tracking for December 16th. And that's unofficial because they haven't said it yet, but we think that's, if it falls in years past, that'll be the date that they use. You want to sign on this?
we did not
Yeah.
sign off on the, I
Yeah,
wrote on mine.
yeah, we won't sign on this until we select dates, but we can sign on this.
Okay.
I've got one.
All right.
I'll come over there.
I can bring it to you.
Days that look like we can't do.
Oh, and here's your. I don't
Until the 16th.
know that he has any wiggle.
It's the 19th. We can't, there's no way.
He's not,
We
yeah.
could have-
Have it pre,
I don't-
ready to go.
He's not gonna be able to move those dates up.
No, because it has to, we have to.
You won't have
wait for
any
the
fun.
board to approve it. There's
Like, what we can
overtime
do, and
gotta
we,
go, there's
we can only do so much.
Pieces to-
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that tomorrow.
There's a bunch of programs,
Okay.
even if we test it, it's still, there's a lot of programs to run. There's, what happens is there's a lot of movement
Mhm.
that's happening. So anybody that's changed jobs, a lot of stuff has to be done manually if they've changed hours and have multiple slots, so there's.
We'll look at that. Yep.
Yeah,
All of those things.
To clarify what he said, and again, we'll go back and look at tomorrow, was the board meeting on the 16th will be increases on January 16th, which means when you return in January to make sure it's programmed correctly. And then the bonus to check later on the 30th
And where would the retro check go?
into the 16th.
On the 16th, so the increase and the retro.
Those typically go together.
And the bonus was the 30th.
Of January, yes, sir.
It's Brian. No comments.
Brian,
I work for-
we agreed for that to be full-time employees and we would do. What did we say on?
For 75 plus cents.
Yeah, half or
Instead of,
part-time, instead of trying to prorate how
Rated all the way
much,
down. Because we have 2-hour employees and
Yeah.
that gets a little bit too.
and we
It's
didn't want
crazy.
them with nothing, so. Regardless of 2 hours, 3 hours,
You
it
have a
would
draft
still be the
of that, I think,
75,
right?
yeah.
Well, actually, I've got my copy here. So yes.
All right. All right, so you'll talk to Dina, you'll let us know the sites, and then Dave will relook at all the numbers, and then we'll get something finalized on this.
Yeah.
In the next week, Perfect.
You guys? All right.
all right,
I'm out on Fridays. So that's my early retirement day.
Okay.
Well, 70 sick days I'm trying to burn between now and December 31st.
um,
Well, I started about 3 months ago. But yeah, we can figure it out. It's not a problem. And I'll.
so you're official,
I'm out. This is a ratification of my last 2 official acts. And then I'll be, what was it you called me? You said I was gonna coast for a few days before the 12th.
Yeah. So I didn't want bargaining to end, so, but I guess
keep them here.
I wanted to keep them here.
Yeah, they're trying to rattle me up and corral me, but thank you all very much. It was a pleasure working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. We got it done.
Okay,
We're out.
These are just your copies.
Thank you.